Hello, 早晨咁多位 Hello, good morning everyone. Welcome to today's second days of the Social Summit, and we are the first section to go today. And I'm glad to be involved in this panel. I'm your facilitator today. My name is Ian. So before we begin, we would like to do a little bit of housekeeping so everyone could get access to our interpreters and devices to get the means to communicate and get question and also discussion in a very vibrant, I'm sure, discussion and conversation later today. So the Social Enterprise Summit 2023, this is an international symposium organized by the Hong Kong Social Entrepreneurship Forum and co-organized by the Home and Youth Affairs Bureau of the Hong Kong SAR government. And we are a summit that's been inaugurated since 2008, and this is a platform perfect for cross-sector conversation, including civil businesses, government, and academic sectors. So this is a really great occasion to have joint effort and interdisciplinary collaboration. So our topic here today is the future of impact investing, emerging trends and opportunity under well-being, art, and culture. So without further ado, may I introduce our three distinguished speaker today. On my right, we have Kaisha. Kaisha is from Gold Art Center. Thank you. And also we have Ms. Lin Yao from Avtex Art Group, and also we have Matthias Wu from SUNY. So I think the reason why we four gathered here is on the topic of social well-being. I think that has two layers to disseminate today. Maybe we can tackle a little bit more in our discussion that follows. So one thing is social, right? Social being in society level, but well-being a word that used to more used in personal level, individual well-being. But when we talk about social well-being, when the two words come together, I think there's one layer, the well-being for the society as a whole, and also we using social as a way of achieving well-being. So in that case, I think art and culture has such a great potential because we have always been about human. Art and humanity are a tight bond. Two that's inseparable. So this is really a great occasion that we can get to hear more about the three speakers' experience and their insight on how do we achieve art and social well-being. And we will also talk about how do we achieve as a society, as a whole, with policy, with funders, with activators and partners from you guys. So please feel free to throw us questions and comments, and we would love to hear more from you. So without further ado, may I first invite Kaisha. Are you going to start with your presentation first? Yes, please.
Hello everyone. Thank you for inviting me to speak for today, and thank you for the introduction to Ian. So my name is Kaisha. I'm the founder of Gold Art Center. It's very early in the morning. How are you guys? It's nice to meet you all. And to start the morning, I prepared a little activity for you to start the day. So it's an activity called body scan drawing. So we prepare the paper and pencil on your seat. So you can hold the pencil and put the paper on your lap. And when you're ready, please gently close your eyes. We are going to start with few deep breaths. So please, when you're ready, take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Notice the quality of your breathing. Is it shallow and short, or is it long and smooth? Try not to judge or change the rhythm of the breathing. Just be there together with your breath. And now you can shift your attention to your body. How is your body feeling? And how are you feeling in your own body space? Is there any part of your body that feels tense, numb, heavy, or negative sensation? Please bring awareness to that area and be with that feeling. Once you located the position, you can gently open your eyes and mark the areas on the paper with your pencil. So the darker the color, the tenser you feel. You can go through from head to toe to scan the whole body and use this as a chance to connect with your body. It's a very short and easy exercise that you can do with just pencil and paper, but it gives a chance to bring awareness to your internal self. And it's a great way to start the day because you can, just like how we physically exercise every day, you can mentally exercise and let go of the emotion. And once you're connected to the sense, you can try to feel the emotion and have a look at how the emotion is visualized. Then you're able to detach yourself from the emotion and know that you're not the emotion. You can feel the emotion until it's completely released and out of your system. There's no need to judge. It's just love and compassion to yourself and also to others who might have sent you the negative energy yesterday. But we know that the negative energy is not the person. It's just the traumatic and generational traumas that they are going through. So we've just experienced how easy it is to use visual art as a method to tap into yourself and release your stress. You don't have to be rich, educated, or be good at drawing to join this activity. And this is just one form of art that I feel comfortable in connecting to. But it can be any forms of arts, really. So for example, my team members would release their stress through boxing, music, speaking, and writing. It's at our core to promote creative expression in daily life. Yes. So Goldar Center was founded in 2017. It started with just one teacher, me, and one student. And in 2 years, it grew to 90 students with 12 part-time visiting teachers. And in 2020, I invited my husband, Jason, my best friend, Vivian, and my husband's best friend, Brian, to join the team. And together, we opened the physical space at Taiku and reshaped our directions and values of it and registered ourselves as a social enterprise. We are a group of passionate and diverse minds from different disciplines that strives to make an impact to every individual that we meet. We want to foster personal growth, creative confidence, and community engagement through customized artistic experiences. We want to be the second home for you. We have programs for literally all the age group, from toddler, teens, adults to elderly, because we want to be welcoming for everyone. we provide different types of programs, regular classes, short courses, and events, so that we can meet your demand and your interest. We want to be the interactive space where you freely and creatively express yourself. And we want to share the inspiration with one another and grow together. I would like to share a story of one of our friends, Hyunwoo, who is a 6-year-old student that comes for a regular art class. And his sister, Jiu, is also learning piano with us. Jiu is very disciplined. She's very good at following orders, and she is highly praised by teachers. But Hyunwoo is quite the opposite. He's very spontaneous. His thoughts jump around a lot, and he can be seen as a bit distracted. But actually, it's Hyunwoo who is inspiring other students in the art class. And if he initiates project himself, he can concentrate 2 hours straight. He's willing to try new and creative activities. And he has the tendency to be more creative and bold, and very intuitive in initiating his project. So this is a little art aptitude scale that we developed. So you can see that Hyunwoo is more on the right side in the spectrum. So he might not be good at following step-by-step instruction or going into details, but that's just who he is. And we want to provide curriculum that is suitable for him. So we would let him just freely initiate projects, but we want to, at the same time, make sure that he has the opportunity to go deep into one project, take time, so that he can have a balanced ability. Because art is just a form, but it's about your behavior, like how you act in the society. I'd like to share another story about Yuna, who's circled in yellow. So we met her through our mentorship program in 2021. So we invited 4 established local artists whose work is around society, and we connected them to 4 public secondary schools who are lacking resources in art. And together, they would design, execute, and exhibit community-based art together. For Yuna's group, they were wondering what is the way to let people participate in their project and make their art more accessible and visible to their neighborhood. They created a cardboard chair and then put it on the promenade in Gyeonggang, which is the area that young people go out for fun and where they feel sense of belonging. So Yuna was actually very worried, what if nobody joins? But people were very willing to join in and take part in the project. We did exhibitions to bring all of the artworks together from the 4 participating schools, and we exhibited in all of the schools, and Boulder Center was the last destination for them to come together. So that's when Yuna came to our space for the first time, and she saw a boxing ring. And it turns out that she wanted to try boxing and asked if she can join. And we also wanted her to be part of our community. So we offered a discount, and she has been with us ever since 2021. And in fact, she recently joined the inter-club match at outside gym, and she did a great job. And she's currently studying jewelry design, and we are looking forward to collaborate with her to promote her art to the public. It's very nice for us to witness her creative journey and see how she's tapping into different forms of creativity together with us. So I just shared 2 examples on how we can create impact with individuals, and we believe that to shape and reshape the art ecosystem, it has to start from the individuals. And after that, we can expand to organizations, communities, and the general public. And the same for social inclusion and sustainable well-being. It's a very big topic, but actually we can just start from individuals and ourselves. You can start by connecting to yourself and bring self-awareness. And you realize that actually all of the social statues, labels, and titles are just an external layers that was given to us socially. So if you peel off the layer one by one, then we share the essence. So there's nothing to socially include or exclude. We are all connected anyway. You just have to share the love and compassion to yourself and also to another. And we do this through diversification and customization of our program so we can reach out to as many people as possible. I'm not saying that this is the only way, it's just how we do what we do. And we are very open to collaborate and engage with like-minded people. So during my session today, if there was anything that you wanted to try, or if there is any means of collaboration, then please feel free to reach out to us. I'm here, and our team Jason and Vivian is also here to discuss more on the topic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kaisha. There's a lot to take, and I think there will be a lot of interesting discussion we can follow from your sharing. Next, can we have Ms. Lin Yao from FTech to share her project and experience with us? Thank you.
I'm very glad there's a younger person handling this for me. Normally in the office, nobody allows me to touch this thing in case it explodes. Anyway, good morning. Thank you very much for having me today, and it's delightful to be here with like-minded people because I think the arts can do so much, and yet we seldom talk about a lot beyond performances and exhibitions. We believe at AFTEC, the Absolute Fabulous Theatre Connection, that creative well-being is social well-being. Like Kaisha, I totally agree that it's got to start with the internal self, introspection, to know, to be aware of who we are so that the arts can help us develop individual agency, capacities and competencies before we can connect to each other. So Kaisha was referring to what she does, which in education terms we call non-formal education. But what I mainly do at AFTEC is formal education. We really believe that we've got to get at the core of challenges, which is in schools. And I'm specifically referring to the local school system. We don't work in ESF or international school systems because that's where the greatest need is. Therefore, although this is the name of our company, AFTEC stands out as Arts for Transformative Educational Change because we believe in using the powers of the arts to really go deep into changes. We work from 8 years old all the way to tertiary institutions. We train trainers, as in teachers, as in artists, and previously with social workers as well. We're in inquiry-based learning, cross-disciplinary, because the world is so rich. Why do we have to silo ourselves into different segments? We're a bona fide company, as you know. We used to have more funding from the private sector, but after COVID, the balance has tipped towards the government sector. Basically, there are 4 spheres here. Obviously, the largest spheres for us are arts, culture, and education. But we have found in the 4 decades of me working and the 15 years of AFTEC working that mental well-being, positive mental well-being, has become a very strong positive consequence of what we do in the arts. And of course, youth development, to which I will hand over to Matthias, who would have a lot more things to say about this. So I want to look at what, I want to look at why, and especially how. Because we all think that the arts and culture and creativity is important, but the issue is, how do we do it for us? That's the crucial question. In policies, in education bureaus, in guidelines, in curriculums, creativity is all over the place. What's the approach? I think that was where our interest started as. So let's look at creativity as all these things, the powers of the arts. This is what we do, the 5 C's, every single day, training teachers, training artists even, together, and in schools. When I speak of creative thinking, I'm talking about creativity and critical thinking together. These are very popular words, but what do we mean? And this is what AFTEC has spent the last 15 years digging into. What exactly do we mean and how do we do it? More importantly, of course, is the why. Globally, I'm sure you know. You must know Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that people need to start with air, which is all right, I suppose, water, etc. And he puts creativity right at the top, self-actualization. In other words, we've got to need everything at the bottom before we can get up there. Now, I actually disagree with this, because I actually think creativity should be at the safety level. I mean, the physical level, yes, we've got to have food, right? But even in finding food, we need to be creative. So, agency, I come back to that. How do we ensure that creativity permeates across all our needs? And don't keep on listening to me. I've used one specific project and children from these projects, and they are from local schools, a lot from low socio-economic status backgrounds. A lot of these schools are in public housing estates. Some of these kids are SEN. A lot of these schools are single parent kids. A lot of them are far away. So let me show you how creative well-being can mean, what it can be. Do I just tap here and it doesn't explode? Oops, sorry, exactly. So, I have to use something, right? So I click. Thank you. You've saved my life again.
喺個反思方面咧，啲導師都會帶領我哋去睇呢一個事物，要睇得咁深一層咧，就可以了解到佢背後嘅意義或者係象徵緊啲乜嘢啦。普通嘅中文層可能咧就冇咁多可以去諗翻一件事物嘅入邊嘅意義。咁我覺得呢個 GCABC 嘅課堂咧，就可以令我哋更加深入去了解一件事情。
So, meaning. Giving time and space for everybody to breathe, to think. Thank you. And that's how a young person, even like this student, steadies herself and is aware of what she's thinking. This is fresh off the press, World Economic Forum, May 2023. The blue lines are skills that global employers think we need to develop further and further. At 73.6% that are it's creative thinking. And everything else in blocks. Probably very bad eyesight. Resilience, flexibility, etc. These are the capacities that we're referring to. Fourth from the bottom at 23%, still need to increase, will be reading, mathematics, and writing. This is not to say that they're not important. They are basic traditional skills. But you can see the difference between the call for creative thinking from employers and the comparison with reading, writing, and mathematics. In the PISA test, OECD, I'm sure you all know about it, for over 2 decades, it's been about mathematics, reading, and science. But in 2022, for these 15-year-olds all over the world, PISA has added creative thinking. So these are 2 very strong global research data on how this is important. This is a very interesting document to read. Hong Kong is in there, but I'll leave it to you to read it. What about locally? So this is some of the research we've done as of 2020, but we did it last year. This is the census and statistics. And we looked at the number of 18-year-olds who lived under the poverty line. And you can see that there are 10 areas, starting from Yuen Long all the way to Chin Wan, where a lot of them, 92,000, live under the poverty line. A lot live in public housing estates. Now, of course, as social enterprises, as NGOs here, we want people to be economically prosperous. But we have found over the last 20 years, at least, that this is the main problem. So the graph shows kids who live in nano flats. And deliberately I asked the illustrator to show this because it shows that a lot of young people living in or under the poverty line are trapped within themselves. Every day they see their parents as blue-collar workers, dishwasher, sweepers, which are great jobs, we really need them. But they do not think they have a future. And the issue is not so much economic poverty as the poverty of imagination. They are unable to go beyond, I have to go and become a sweeper. I can only wash dishes. So we found this, and that's why in schools, a lot of them are very passive, they don't speak, they're afraid, they don't want to take risks. That's why the arts and culture is so important, because it draws us out of ourselves. And in all our programs, even in training teachers and artists together, imagination is something that we actually do, giving them dispositions and strategies, tools and skills. Because unfortunately in Hong Kong, this is rather weak. Let's listen to this boy. Let's see if I can. Oh, I've done it? One more. Okay. Very funny.
之後就普通嘅堂咧就比較就好似咧嗰個有個窿咁，有一個籠咁樣就困住你，就唔俾你出嗰個思想。但係跨啦嘅堂咧，佢冇呢個籠，佢咧就會有一個自由度就好高啦，然之後就到我哋平時咧都限制咗嘅想像力咧會爆發出嚟。
This is from a 12-year-old that they feel they haven't gone mad just because we've let them go, right? But seriously, he knows the difference. All right, I'll get back to it. Thank you. I'm sorry, Nettie. You have to help me every time. So this is very quickly, I'm not going into details. This is the final interim result of a 3-year project that the Jockey Club has sponsored us. We're now into the 3rd year, and these are some statistics, because a lot of people say, arts and culture, how do you measure it? If you don't measure it, why should we sponsor you, right? So these are the respondents. It's a small pilot project done over 3 years with 10 primary schools, very, very deeply. So every day we go into these schools, and creative practitioners are actually artists, but we call them CPs because there's architects in it as well. What do some of the teachers and creative practitioners think? The 5 C's are right at the top. That's what we do as well. So after 2 years, yes, it was really difficult for both teachers and CPs, but it does work. So why am I showing you this? Not to say how great this program is, but how possible it is actually to put arts and creative thinking into the formal school curriculum. So it is during class, either in the morning or early afternoon. 2 years ago, these were our teachers, and you might know quite a lot of them. Fear stops people from doing a lot of things. And teachers and CPs didn't know how to work together. Oh, you would put out an idea, she would put out an idea, and that's it. But it's all changed now. So, well, that's too much to read out, but I think 8, 9, and 10 are good points to notice. Finally, after 2 years, both sides know that they are willing to make an attempt towards a creative thinking habit of mind. As a result, their confidence has increased. As a result, collaboration is much better. All this goes towards creative well-being and thus social well-being, because a school is a microcosm of society. These are the capacities and competencies gained. I would like to specifically point out 2 things. Authentic teaching. Authentic teaching doesn't mean sitting just in the classroom. It just means connecting to your lives. And the arts, whatever it is, performing arts or visual arts, and we do everything, performing and visual arts, they connect you to yourselves and they connect you to life, and that is how social well-being happens. The last point, calling on each other's joint abilities. I love this Social Enterprise Summit because it is cross-disciplinary. We've got to talk to each other, as opposed to you sitting over there, you're in NGO and social work, Matthias sitting over there, he's in the performing arts, etc. We need to work together. Because the adults have changed, the children are changing because they look up to us, right? So more than half the students have changed this aspect. Humor is something that they've changed in. You might think, why is humor doing, what is it doing in there? It's because they are more relaxed now. It's because tension has drifted off, that they can make jokes. Our classrooms are extremely interactive. It's not just me talking to you like this, and I apologize for that. Imagination there again. I won't read this out, but you can see that it's not just the arts and performing or painting. It is about how you develop your person, that you feel you are worth it because you are able to express yourselves. And collaboration, of course, is part of the road to well-being.
係，跟住上面有個，你見到有個好大個招牌寫住社企文教。
同學嘅睇法係唔同咗嘅。咁以前啦，可能好多人咧都會覺得咧，我好自我中心。咁但係咧，我喺呢個活動裏邊啦，就自己咧多咗同合作。咁咧令到人哋了解咗自己，我又了解咗人哋。咁我哋嘅合作咧係冇乜拗撬嘅，就好順利。
Sorry, I just have very bad eyesight. Do I have 5 more minutes or 2 more minutes? 1 minute.
1 minute.
Oh, I have 1 minute. Okay, I will skip. So 2 years ago, they were very passive. Now, points 10 and 11, expressing their feelings of confidence in expressing oneself. Better family relationships. I won't show you this. This is what basically says. Now he has a lot of interesting things to talk to his family about. So that helps with well-being as well. I won't go into this. How do we do it then? I think basically this is what we've been looking at. Forget about simple answers in textbooks. Seriously, don't even look at school tuition. Too many parents think that that is the important factor. It is not. If this happens, and this is a deficit-based traditional model, that's what we've seen, it ends in very low motivation. How do we raise the level of motivation? It's again, arts and culture. This little boy, you must listen to, because he barely spoke then. I promise you, this is the last.
我會覺得做完之後好有成功感，同埋大家都會好中意呢個店鋪，因為大家一齊認識咗呢個店鋪之後咧，我就知喺整呢個店鋪過程中，我係好重要嘅，就係唔好睇小自己。
This is so difficult for an 8-year-old to say. Don't belittle yourself. It is a lot of our restrictive traditional teaching models that makes us restrict ourselves. Thank you again. So what we've been trying to do for the last 15 years is to move it from a deficit-based traditional model to an asset-based creative learning model in which we are all change agents, in which sponsors and funders have to believe in this way of learning so that there is flexible habits of mind and it all leads to creative well-being. We use a abstract 10-gram. This is 7 levels of what we do. Starting with level 1, how do you change your environment? Physical, social, and emotional environment, so that then by the time you give them tools, skills, and strategies, they will be able to absorb it and use it. I won't read it out. We've had to move from traditional learning, which is single answer, memory, only and little choice, to a creative type of learning, which is convergent, divergent, convergent learning. And simply by listening to our young people, or when we train teachers, we listen to teachers. Creative placemaking is something that Hong Kong can do, but do it properly, because it can be economically vibrant as well. Social prescription through the arts in the UK and the US, they've been doing it for 40, 50 years. We've been working with medical students at Hong Kong Youth Faculty for 10 years now. This is a credit-bearing course because scientists also need the arts. We believe creative well-being is social well-being, and all these sectors need together, from communities to friends And this is how we think we would like to create this. Thank you very much. I'm sorry I yelled. I'm not going to touch this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lynn. There's a lot of takes in and very inspiring. We will follow up on formal and non-formal art learning. So the next up we'll have Matthias Wu from SUNY ICO City.
Good morning. I don't have a PowerPoint to present. I just want you to look at me, okay? Look at me talking, because it's only 15 minutes. And somehow, I think I'd like to talk a little bit about, because we talk about well-being and arts and culture, I want to talk a little bit about technology, because I think technology is something that is reinventing or recreating what well-being is. And SUNY was founded in 1982, 41 years ago, almost 41 years ago. And we have been focusing on art and technology since then. And somehow we think that the concept of art and technology have a very strong relationship, because the technology will affect how art are created, and also art can also inspire technology. So as an experimental art group, we are now one of the 9 professional performing arts company in Hong Kong, funded by the government. So we are more like a public institution, but we are focusing on experimentation. We have in 4 areas. One in technology, the other one in tradition, the third is education, and the fourth area is related to public policy. So as a think tank, but we focus on how arts, like today's topic. I think at the end of the day, we all the social enterprise believe that we are going to create a better world, no matter you're in environmental or in education. And why technology is so important is because I think we are in a tipping point. As we all know, we can't live without a phone. We can't live without technology anymore, but we have to deal with technology. And somehow technology also changed with the perception of space and human relation. Somehow the kids are more related to the phone than to their parents nowadays, as we all know. So what SUNY has been doing for the last 10 years is, one is in the children area. We developed last year. We did a research for the government, for the Hong Kong government, architectural services department, reviewing all the existing art space in Hong Kong, because most of the art space nowadays are designed for adults, not for kids. So we do a research and develop a design menu that we will upload to our website later. So if you go to SUNY website, you can see the report. I don't want to talk in details, but one key area is, since the kids are so related to technology with the phone, how can they relate it to the real space? Okay, that's the one key topics. I think that's also related to how kindergarten are designed, and how we always talk about how we nurture the next generation of art audience. We have to start from the kids. So we have been doing that, and in practice, we try to build a new different form of art space for kids. So we also did some experimentation to use latest projection and audio technology in that area. And then another area, I think mindfulness is also very important. Since SUNY starts 40 years ago, we have been doing this practice of walking meditation. So because we believe anyone can go on stage and can perform, and the basic understanding of how you can perform is how you breathe, how you stand. And the deeper we study performing arts, the deeper we understand that breathing is very important for performer, and also not just for performer, but also for any form of performing arts. And so we do a lot of basic training on walking meditation, breathing, and we try to advance it, but how we integrate with technology, how we make the technology related to our sense rather than they control our sense. Because as we all know, all the technology invented now is for consumption and entertainment. It's not for well-being. It's to make more money, okay? All the technology is to get you very excited, exhausted, to spend more, you know. So, but how we could counter? Can we counter that force? No, it's very difficult because as a consumption-based society, it's very difficult. But then I think as an art group, as an experiment, we can do something on that. So I think almost 20 years ago, we start to work with Buddha master we invent some traditional Buddha practice. Because I think the concept of Buddha practice is also meditation. It's not to entertain you, it's to calm you down. It's to make you mindful and selfless. So there's a lot of traditional Buddha practice and ritual that is also related to mindfulness and how we can use new technology to facilitate that kind of reinvention. So 20 years ago, we did a piece called Enhance Sutra to use Buddha chanting, integrated new projection technology and audio technology on that. And eventually, all the project I talk about, if you go to SUNY YouTube channel, you can search for it. And if you are interested, you can search for it and look into the details. Because I don't want to play video because if I just play video, I don't need to come there. So I need to tell you the background of this. It's because I think technology is anyone we need to deal with. I mean, even social enterprise and to counter well-being, to reinvent well-being, we have to engage technology. And so what I find I like to share with you is technology, at the moment, all the technology are disconnecting human interaction. So the global trend is less and less people go to theaters. They stay at home, especially after COVID, because I can have, or maybe next year when the Apple headset come out, maybe more people stay at home. So if you talk to kids under 30s, they are more the phone generation. So especially after COVID, they will used to be this kind of, not just happening, I think in China also happening, but China is different because it's a big country, a little bit different. So I think one of the important issues that anyone, even the social enterprise, have to deal with is space. Space. Because how we can create space that can facilitate human interaction is very important. Theater used to be social media. We go to theater to discuss political issues, social issue, environmental issue, history, philosophy. But we don't need to do that anymore because technology takes over. If you go to YouTube, you can search for anything you want. You can interact with anyone you want, easily. You don't need to come to a physical space. But then how we can reinvent that? But maybe Hong Kong is an extreme case because Hong Kong real estate economy is so strong, so space is so precious. So compared with Korea or Japan or China, the concept of space are very different. So I'm always thinking a lot of social enterprise or startup, it's very difficult to find space. And then the interesting thing is, if you go to YouTube, actually a lot of kids are using YouTube as their space to create a channel to talk about what they want. So it's become a new kind of public space. But then those kind of public spaces have certain limitations. It's still not a human-to-human interaction. It's still technology control because the algorithm can control you what kind of content you can see. So what SUNY, as an art group, what we have been trying to do is how we can use technology to bring people back to the theater, or how we can reinvent art space. Or maybe this kind of conference conventional space, we need to reinvent it. Now it's an analog. This kind of relation is an analog relationship. Can we be more informal? Can the chair can move? Can we all walking around? Or could it be more interactive way rather than just this kind of static way of listening and talking? Maybe we can, or could we do experimentation of that? What Lin just said is also relevant because it's also about how we design the classroom, how we design the school, how we design the kindergarten, how we design hospital. With the technology, we need to reinvent architecture because at the moment, most of the architecture are designed in an analog way. Even the training of architects are too old-fashioned. Because I myself, I study architecture, so I think I understand the relationship between art, space, and architecture a little bit better, you know. And I think technology is a cool thing. So we have been setting up lab. We have been setting up lab with different education institutions, with Shui Arts University, and recently we have been working with University of Arts Singapore, and also the Shanghai Theatre Academy to talk about how we develop new kind of space. Maybe not just for art, for religion, for social enterprise, but then we need a physical space because we want to create a physical space to attract people to interact. So we need space. So there's a couple of suggestions I think for the Social Enterprise Summit is I think we should develop a research or a database about the space. Maybe a database of space in Hong Kong. We talk WeWork. I mean, WeWork is a commercial-based concept. But could the WeWork concept transform into a non-profit concept? I think the WeWork concept is more a socialist concept rather than a capitalist concept. So it's a very strange, not talk about WeWork, and work sharing and workspace sharing is more like a socialist concept rather than a capitalist concept. But then somehow in a social enterprise concept, could we work with developer, the government to identify different form of space, open space and closed space. So like in Hong Kong recently, we talk about all this market space. How can we reinvent market space? So like in New York, there's a very interesting public think tank called Project for Public Space. They talk about placemaking. I think Hong Kong should develop a space database or do a research on that, so that when a social enterprise want to find a space, they can do matchmaking. Also talk to big developer. Because I think in the future, what happening now is more and more shopping mall will be empty. More and more office will be empty. And maybe we can get you of this space to reinvent arts. So like as something interesting happened in Shanghai, is because of the government new policy, they have a one-stop licensing service. So one commercial building has been converted into a concert, F&B space, 20 mini performing art space in Shanghai has been very vibrant now. And there are more and more pop-up in Shanghai. And there are a lot of creative parks in Shanghai, in Shenzhen. I think we could learn from that in Korea too. I think I was in Korea five years ago, meeting the mayor, the past mayor, and when he started, he also started the Hope Foundation, also using a lot of space, youth development park, and I think space is one of the things we should study because we want to use technology to engage people rather than disengage people, and when you have people engaged, then they will create a lot of different chemistry and better well-being. Okay, and thank you.
Thank you. There's so much truth that you see from our arts practitioner. We always see beyond the reality. There's so much truth in every speaker's sharing. We have not much time, but still I wanted to ask each speaker some follow-up question on their sharing, and then I will invite and share time with the floor if you have any comments and questions to share with us. But before I ask, maybe it's better to also do a quick recap from what we just heard. So from Gold Art Center, from Kaisha, we've been through a breathing exercise. We learned to recap through body scanning and through breathing, which Matthias also highlighted and hinted on Buddhism mindfulness, which is a great connection there. And from Lin, we also heard from the distinguish between formal and informal art learning, and as well as the urgency to tackle this issue in mainstream school, in secondary school, which is also great. And then we also hear Matthias sharing on the trend of art and technology, how tech tend to be distancing people from real interaction, from real space, and he also promote the idea of space, a new space idea for a virtual and an art gathering. So on this note, maybe a question for each speaker first, because each of you have very different dimensions, but it is all very worthwhile to pursue. Maybe I ask Kaisha first, like from your angle, because you said in a few years' time from one teacher to one student, it grows to 12 part-time and also 90 students, close to 100. What is your encounter in this process with the parents? Are they also equally perceptive and receptive to your idea? What are they expecting from sending their kids or to learning and taking part in your art learning classes?
So in the beginning, our business model was like visiting students' home to conduct the art classes, because at the time we didn't have physical space. So it was usually done in 1-to-1 setting or 1-to-2 settings. So we could customize contents to meet the demand for both the parents and what we want to do and what the student wants to do. So we conduct the aptitude tests and then suggest on which way is the best way for the student to encounter with art. But it is true that a lot of parents register for us because they want to improve on the technical skills, because even at school they would have this visual elements. They need to write like visual diary, or like in biology class they need to draw like animals. So parents want the kids to learn art so that they can do good in academic setting. Of course, like not all the parents. Some parents are like very chill and they just wanna do it so that the kids can enjoy. But we try to let the parents know that it's not just about the technical skill, and then what we are trying to teach through art is how it's just the life behavior. So if the student is very detail-minded, and then at the same time the student tends to be afraid of making mistakes and use eraser like a lot of times, then for the students we want to let the student know that it's okay to make mistakes. It's part of the process, and incorporate some of the activities that can for the student to boost their boldness. So yeah, very case by case.
Okay, but thank you for bringing up the tailor-making and also like an aptitude test for your new students. We may come back to that about the business model that you mentioned, but on that note, I wanted to tag Lin for your, you bring up a very important idea, creative thinking, critical and creative at the same time. So creativity, as what Kaisha also mentioned, art should be should be in every level in the life. But I also wanted to ask you more about the leadership level. I know you are also doing training, you train the trainers, not only on teachers level, but also the principal level. So in terms of educational leadership, what do you see the major challenge in bringing them on board, and how EdTech could be like a support or being able to move through that fear to help them achieve what we shared?
That's a very good question. I think in terms of leadership principles, the biggest challenge is they are unaware of what the arts can do beyond bringing in a choreographer to get a dance done or a musical done. So advocacy is something that we've been trying to do in our own small way. And in the schools that we've been working with, the top schools, the best performing schools, have been where principals are personally involved. Not just in saying yes, okay to this program, but in actually reducing the number of classes for teachers so that teachers can sit down and work out the lesson plans and the curriculum with the creative practitioners, number 2. Number 3, there are, out of the 10 schools, I think 4 have done very well, and out of the 4, 2 are exceptionally doing well. The principals are actually there during class, not to observe, supervise, not to supervise, and not to say, that's right and that's wrong. No, the principal becomes part of the class, and he or she works together with the students, listening to them. So it's really coming down from that authoritative pedestal. You don't know everything, but you're engaging at a similar level with them. And number 4, we're trying to put together, in fact, if I find funding, a creative learning leadership program in which principals and top management in schools and in arts companies can join some kind of training. It's really the lack of knowledge and then the fear of not knowing what to do.
Thank you. So I think Dean also shared this great insight in filling not only space as in time and scheduling for the teachers and CP, but also intellectual space. You're also filling them with knowledge to overcome the fear. Matthias, I also wanted to tag you about the idea of space, where you just talked about. Do you think, like for us as a CP or art practitioner, or an educational leader or social leader, what should we do, like in terms of strategy? This tech wave coming in, distancing ourselves in the real reality, right? So do you think the strategy would be better to integrate, to embrace it, or no, we should build a dam and set boundary, defend for creation, because you need to have reality, real world engagement? What do you think we should do, like in terms of strategy? How to move forward with technology?
I think we should, especially after COVID, we are used to staying at home or using the technology to engage with arts and culture. So no matter what, we need to. I think one of the few strategy one is like I think it's for Hong Kong. I think all the art groups should move to West Kowloon. So it become arts and culture, so like art festival, art tech, really all the because it's big enough to become a social. I think the problem now for Hong Kong is our government look at arts and culture as high entertainment, or just I think it's art and culture. I mean leisure and entertainment is part of art, but not all. But the problem is not look at West Kowloon, look at M+, it's just it's just for entertainment. It's like a land profit. It's like a high. It's like a LVMH subsidiary. And no substance at all. If you have zero community engagement, it took you like $10 to buy a can of Coke in M+. And M+ is the biggest art space in Hong Kong. So that reflects our government attitude. So I'm not against that. If LVMH pay for that, it's fine. But we have been using 50 billion Hong Kong dollar to build West Kowloon. Is the biggest. And I think it should be more engaging. I think it's okay to have LVMH, but we should have more diversity. But the problem is, nowadays, the segregation of technology will be very easy to create this. because the rich and powerful can control the space, the real space. So all go to technology because technology is less expensive. I mean, for normal walk of life, he can engage a lot of opera concert on YouTube without need to pay anything. Just pay for his phone fee or the network fee. But to go to see a real opera in cultural center will cost them maybe $200 or maybe if you want to get a good seat. I mean, that's the reality. I think cultural consumption is fine, but then I think for government policy, and it's not just for arts and culture, education have the same problem. We believe pay more, you get better education. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. This is bad for human being. That is bad for civilized. I mean, this is really bad because we believe more money, you buy better health service, more money, you can go to better yoga. I mean, yoga, you don't need to, I mean, a lot of things have to pay. I mean, like America too, the problem of America now have the same problem because of the wealth gap is created by that, because the rich people believe I can control education, but then I mean, go back to Hong Kong. I mean, what I suggest is we use the technology to create an app or a database to work with different developers. I'm not demonizing developer. I mean, developer is also facing the reality. They also want to have a happy community, which is more sustainable. And you just see Korea, in Japan, a lot of big corporations are funding us and a lot of things. And I would say if we create a database or app that can when people like a real, not called real estate, space searching app that people are okay. I look for a space for a lab or office space that can matchmake the landlord and the user in a different kind of scale, and we need that. We need that. Hong Kong need that. And the second thing is how we can really create more learning from Seoul, from Korea, from Japan. Hong Kong need a social enterprise park. So we have science park, we have cyberport. Another way is can cyberport absorb more social enterprise in the cyber, because a lot of spaces are empty in the cyberport. I mean, even in science park in Taiwan, a lot of empty space because a lot of startup, their real office are not in science park, are in Huntong or in Shenzhen. I mean, that's the reality. It's empty. So can we do a lot of more interesting space sharing? For social enterprise, the social enterprise can work with tech company rather than separate them. Art company, art festival work with a startup, or art company work with a tech company. I mean, there's a lot of possibility here. If we think of technology as a way to create network rather than to create compartmentalization, But then the issue is the existing funding model are compartmentalized art. So dance, drama, when you apply for funding, they will say, even curating art festival, also you need to have certain label. But then that's fine. So I would two suggestions. One is about a digital platform for space sharing or space searching. The second is we need to integrate with the new space into the existing, like West Kowloon, like the Taiko Science Park or Singapore.
Great, thank you so much. I mean, he's already to the like the ultimate goal of this summit for our section is really to talk about what we should let the government know and all the major stakeholders. Also, I think Martin's also mentioned a very important angle from the private sector, the developers. It's not only the government but also the stakeholders. And indeed, we are facing the same crisis. Not only theatre but shopping mall. We are under the same threat, actually, how tech is distancing us from the real thing. So I think maybe the best strategy is to do both. But before we move on with my question, any guests and our friends on the floor would like to share some insight and question for our panelists? Okay, there's one over there. Can we pass the mic? There's two there. Yeah. Maybe the gentleman first.
Thank you. This is Henry from Oxfam, Hong Kong. I have a question for Ms. Lin Yao. I really appreciate working with local schools because most local schools don't have extra funding to buy expensive educations. Because the international schools have a lot of funding, a lot of resources to provide like premium education for the students. So I just want to know how to work from working with Java Club and working with getting the principal on board and also work with the universities. How do you promote this process of collaboration to scale up your impact and help the youngsters and the youth so that they can have enjoy and be creative in class and maybe smooth out the personal traumas in the process.
Thank you. So your question is about upscaling the project? Expanding the project?
And how do you start?
How did I start?
Like from 15 years ago, how do you get more people on board? I just want to know more about maybe I'll become an entrepreneur in the future, but I want to know what's your personal experience in fighting and getting disapproved by the traditional schools. I don't think you work, but then you finally get them to have extra funding to sponsor your program.
I understand that. Patience and long-windedness. You have to be more long-winded than anybody else. But seriously, when we first started 15 years ago, I saw a report called Supporting Excellence in the Arts. That was a UK report. Sir Brian McMaster was tasked to look at how the arts can become excellent in the UK. And page 18, there was a paragraph that said, the arts, and that's this UK, the arts are generally superficial because after the performance there is no long-lasting impact. I'm just paraphrasing. So that caught my attention. It is true that after a performance, after an exhibition, that's it. But what is the legacy? How do we sustain it? How do we further extend the investment that artists, funders have put into? So it was because of this one sentence that started us thinking, how do we use the arts for more positive and sustainable benefits and consequences? From that, because my own interest is in education and in the arts, so we decided to add the two together, looking at the deeper powers of the arts. How does it help people to reflect? How does it help people to interact? How does it help people to imagine and deal with your emotions? Now, it's not arts therapy, we don't do that. But the fact that a lot of people keep their own thinking and their feelings inside, it doesn't create well-being. It doesn't create creative well-being, it creates social well-being. So that is how we started. It was not easy, this road, because everybody would say, oh, you have a theatre space too. Why don't you just keep on producing theatre productions? We do, but everything that we do has a creative learning aspect to it. So it's being patient, long-winded, and really speaking to funders who will listen to you. Most of them don't understand. I recently had a funder say to me twice, I don't find that very exciting because I don't even understand what you're saying. Never mind, keep on finding another way of talking to them. One day they will understand. And with this project, or with many projects, because we have evidence and track record, so when we first started we had nothing, zero. But we had to build it. And over time, I know it's been 14, 15 years, there are results. And you use the result as a ladder to help funders understand, which is, I would like to reply to your first question to me. Not only do principles need to be advocated to, funders need it too. Hong Kong is efficient, but it is overly instrumental and utilitarian. Everything must produce a result immediately. The best thing is produce it tomorrow. And please make sure it benefits 10,000 people. So we have not had a lot of sponsors. Government, yes, they've always been supporting us. But we have had sponsors who would listen. And the road continues. It is not easy because I see all of us as entrepreneurs as well. We just do it for community. In fact, next year we are hoping if we get continued funding, we are looking for partners, we're looking for collaborators, for universities with arts companies, so that more of the creative learning model can be spread out. If I am able to benefit NGOs, I would love to, but we're still too early at our proposal writing stage. But definitely we'd like to be able to disseminate more, not just to artists, but to entrepreneurs like yourselves, because creative thinking is for everybody. It's not just the arts. I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you. And can we have the lady?
I have two questions for Kaisha. Thank you for inspiring presentation. It is the GAC is the combines art, wellness, and sports, especially the boxing, which is very creative. That never saw a boxing in the art space. So how do you come up with this idea? And second is you mentioned the word art ecosystem. Is it a word invented by you, or it's a theory behind? Thank you.
Thank you. So the boxing is run by my husband. And then I would like to work with people I love because I have passion towards work and then have like creating benefits to people. But at the same time, I would like to go through this process with people I love. And I mainly use visual art as a means of expression, but at the same time, I'm interested in like so many different ways. Like I do yoga. I just sometimes go to the boxing ring and then box together. I would love to compose music if I have time later. So I recognize that it's not just about one form of art, but providing like different forms of art that matters to me, like diversifying what we provide so that we can reach out to more people. Yeah, so and for the second question, I'm not very sure if it's an existing word. But I just wrote it because what I wanted to say is it's not just about one sector, but we have to care about the whole sectors. So for example, educating, like we started with educating kids, and we find that there is so much value in that because we can kind of tackle how they think, like artistically, so that when they grow up, they can be more creative and provide more. But at the same time, we also have to be in touch with parents because it's the parents who educate their kids. We meet our students like once per week, but that's not enough. So we wanted to expand that to the adults so that they have better understanding and they can educate their kids in a more open and creative way. And at the same time, we also have to support the creatives, the artists, because they're the frontliner who is shaping this landscape together. So I'm just noticing that there is a connection to all of it, and like for corporates and schools as well. So we would like to do more team building activities so that the people are more creatively confident at the workplace, so they can have better ideas. And we also want to be in touch with schools. It's not that we don't want to tap into the formal education, it's that we found it very difficult to connect to the schools because they usually have a very low budget and they care about, don't believe them. So I learned from Lynn that I have to be more persistent. But we are just tackling what is right in front of our eyes and just try to bring more art to people's life by diversifying it. So art can be a form of entertainment, it can be a form of healing, it can be a form of socializing. So we are not discriminating how people connect to art. We're just trying our best in connecting to as many people as possible.
If I may add, that's why we run parents' workshops as well. Because you can have the principal and the teachers doing very well and the kids doing very well, and then you go home and the parents say you go bojiang, right? You go tuition. So I think you should start parents' workshops.
Yeah, do we have more questions for the floor? If not, I do have a lot more questions, but I would like to give any more for the floor. So I know time is running short, but I do have one question maybe for the whole panel. So all of you have been doing very meaningful and impactful arts program and pursue for excellence, which leads to social and behavioral change, I believe. And that goes to today's theme, arts and culture for social well-being. Can I ask, do you have an end game? Do you have a vision that once you achieve those things, okay, I'm good, I'm very happy, I can move on? Can you picture that vision for us? What would you like to do from your perspective?
Because we are experimental, our group is experimental in nature, and my practice is also experimental in nature. So there's always, for us, I think we need space, time, and people to keep interacting. So it's not an end game. Is that we can really interact with the reality, and then to not just make an impact, but how we can be constructively creating more opportunity for people, and then or inspire people, maybe a creative and learning community. I think for me, I think if we can, Hong Kong is our home base, so we hope that we can facilitate Hong Kong as a hub that can generate this kind of dialogue and collaboration, and also creating new ideas. And it's a very abstract end game, but then that's what Hong Kong is for the last couple of decades. I think we should maintain this kind of attitude. And there are a lot of reality we have to face. We have to face funding, we have to face space, we have to face a lot of bureaucracy, and also a lot of organization. But my real and deeper concern is because of the technology, because of the new economic and socio-economic and political situation, people are disconnecting. And if we are disconnecting, then creating art, or I think for social enterprise too, our end game is to make people collaborate, connect, and facilitate more interesting ideas.
Thank you.
I think it's about bringing the awareness to the importance of taking care of your own mental health, because it's not about like how poor or rich you are. Everyone goes through similar emotional process, and I feel like yoga, for example, became like very popular in Hong Kong and also in Korea, and it's very related to meditation and how you connect to yourself. And I feel like yoga has been like popularized more. So I hope the same for art. And I hope people, because when I talk about like art therapy, it suddenly sounds so heavy. Yeah, so that's why I try to avoid that wording as well. But I want people to be more aware of the healing benefits that art can bring.
Thank you. I don't know if I understand Ian's question properly. End game to me means two things. End game is in tango, and I don't want to see that ever happening. I think you're asking me what I would like the ultimate goal to be. I would like creative thinking to be a habit of mind for everybody, not in schools, not just kids, but also adults, because this is how we can spur Hong Kong's creative competitiveness. I am very worried that Hong Kong is losing its competitive edge, It's not about more and more and more and more supply of A, B, C, D, E. It's about how do you enhance the quality of people's minds, of people's emotional well-being. And I think if we move too fast to become even more utilitarian, we will forget that we're dealing with human beings that make up a city. So my answer will be a habit of mind for everyone who thinks creatively.
Thank you. I just got a word, but before I really want to close this section, if I may add, I think we talk about a lot of key points, which I also wish to share with the audience. In social well-being, I think there's an aspect of mental health as well from what Kaisha has talked about. And this will lead to us to focus on self-awareness, and from that we talk about interconnectedness and also the ecological thinking that all things are connected. When knowledge is, we acquire knowledge in university or in study, compartmentalized, utilitarian, it's very from A to B, but the real world doesn't operate like that. And this is where this occasion, like the Social Enterprise Summit, works to facilitate and joint effort, and not just meeting like-minded. I think it's also a place like what Matthias was saying, a community where we share peer support, resources, and knowledge and intelligence to work towards social well-being, which is a great topic that I personally think. And also from the angle of sustainability, if we are to really push forward art and culture as an idea, not only as a subject, but as a conduit of everything, I would argue even. Having art and culture just make everything better. In terms of acquiring knowledge or having a better urban planning, which I personally worked on before. So on that note, I think let's keep the conversation going, and this main idea sit in your brain. And don't let it rest, because we are here, people are here to share with goodwill and with resources. So please do connect, stay with the summit. We will shortly have another summit coming up. It's the Asia Youth Entrepreneurship Exchange. And also, if I may invite you, if you feel anything or think about anything, please write and survey for us. It's in the QR code on the screen. And once you fill it, we also have a small token of thanks, a coffee coupon for you to enjoy. So thank you all. Thank you for the panelists, T.S., Lin, and Kaisha, and thank you for the summit having us. I hope you have a great day. Thank you very much.